G'day Saints fans, we're here today joined by Head of List Management James Gallagher. Gags, thanks so much for joining us, mate. Well, 7:30pm last night signalled the end of a really significant period for the football club, for your team and for yourself. Can you take us through the wash-up from what was a pretty busy trade period for the club?
Thanks, Mick. Yeah, it was a really busy couple of weeks and the weeks before that, but I suppose in summary we're really happy. We're pretty strategic about the type of player that we wanted to bring in. We wanted to be proactive and aggressive in this time of the year. We feel as though we've got a good nucleus there, but we need to get better. Overall, really positive period for us.
And from the outside looking in, trade period's only, 10 days, but obviously there's a lot more thinking that goes into it than that. When does it really kick off for you guys?
Yeah, you're right. Trade period it's 10 days. Probably things start to really, the activity heats up a little bit, probably from the end of the season, when there's exit meetings and you have a good, clear picture on what your needs are from a list perspective and your players, and other clubs are a bit the same. So it from the end of the season, it really starts to the activity picks up, but clearly it's a long-term approach with watching a lot of footy throughout the year, talking to player managers, and being able to sort of clearly identify the players that you think can help your club and fit in with the strategy that you have with your own list.
Well, once again, Saints fans, thanks for joining us live with Head of List Management James Gallagher. We're going to get right into your questions, and don't forget you can submit your question below in the comments, and we'll endeavour to get to as many as we can. So to kick things off, we've got one here from Christian Legis. And Christian's asking, with the additions of Zach Jones and Brad Hill to our midfield, will that impact midfield minutes for Jack Billings and Jade Gresham?
I reckon there's probably going to be a few coaching sort of questions come through, but from our perspective, they may play less time in the midfield, but I think that's a really good thing. Both are really accomplished small to medium-sized forwards, and it means that we can leave our best players out on the ground for longer, because they can play a variety of positions. So it gives us more depth through the midfield. Zach Jones is a really versatile player. He can play inside the centre square, on the wing, at half-back and high half-forward. So, we think if we bring a lot of these guys in, it just gives the coach more options. And I know, Gresh and JB, they're really open-minded. They just want to have want to be the best team we can be, so they'd be happy to play anywhere.
J.R. Sarams asked, who would primarily play on the opposite wing to Brad Hill? I see Billings more damaging as a leading up half-forward flanker, which you've just touched on.
Yeah. Again, that's a coaching one. Rats may have a different view on where he wants to play Brad Hill. You never know. But Jack Billings had an outstanding year on the wing for us, so I'd imagine there's a reasonable chance he plays there a bit. But we have Jack Sinclair and others that can play there too.
Taylor Harvey's come through with fantastic effort to get 5 ready-made players through the door. But does the club have a vision to improve their draft position this year or even next year? Because we've only got 2 draft picks for this year.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got. There's always the option to improve your draft position this year by leveraging future picks. So we're pretty open-minded with that. But at the same time, we recognise there was opportunities to bring some guys in this year, and we knew that one of the byproducts of that would be that we wouldn't have a great draft hand this year. We're okay with that. But what we didn't want to do that at the expense of was an early pick next year. So, we have a late third-round pick this year, which that's a good result given the players we bought in, and we may look to improve that if something happens on the night. We're okay with our draft position.
And Ken Williams has asked here, what's the situation with Jack Nunes?
Yeah, so Nunesy we've been in really regular contact and dialogue with Jack and his manager. So that'll play out over the next couple of weeks. But hopefully, Jack's going to have a home here. So hopefully that's with us next year. But he's well within his rights to have explored his options as a free agent, and that'll sort of resolve itself over the next couple of weeks, I think.
One of the first ways we managed to pick up was Dougal Howard, who I know you're very excited about. Damien Miller's asked, what's the plan with Dougal? Have him in the defence, or do we do what we did with Bruce and Gehrig and turn him into a forward?
We traded in Dougal as a key defender. So I expect he'll play there for his career at St Kilda. But one of the great things about Dougs is he's got the ability to go and play as a forward too. So we may swing him forward at times. That'll be up to the coaches. We do have a bit of depth down back, but we've brought him in primarily to play as our key defender.
Trav J. Leader has asked, knowing this was a shallower draft and having also brought in some good young kids recently, was it one that you were happy to spend picks to bring in experience rather than youth?
Yeah, that's right. You can't expect to bring in really good players for nothing. You have to give up something, and we've had some early draft picks over the last couple of years. We had Hunter Clark and Nick Caulfield in 2017. We had Max King last year, and even Jack Bytel, who we got later in the draft, but he was considered a first round talent. It was his back injury that pushed him down the order. So we feel that we've banked some really high-end talent in the last couple of years, so we thought the best way to complement those guys is if we bring in some more established players this year. So, you can't have everything. You can't have your cake and eat it too, and we're okay with foregoing our early draft pick this year to bring in the calibre of player that we did.
Rowan Dickinson has sent one through. What is the intended ruck time split between Rowan Marshall and Paddy Ryder next season?
No idea, but at least we've got some options there. One of the really key things about Paddy, which is why we're so keen to get him in, is that he's got the ability to play as a forward as well. So he's an outstanding ruckman, as is Rowan, but both of them can play as key forwards. So they can play in the same team. They can play on the oval at the same time together. So that was really important for us. So I would imagine, they'll both do a fair bit of rucking, both spend a fair bit of time forward as well. Yeah.
One in from Alex Strawn. What was the rationale and list strategy behind targeting the players that we've acquired in particular?
Well, we've been really clear. So I started here sort of 13 months ago, and we've spent a fair bit of time early in that, and then early in the season in working out, well, what's the shape of our list? What does it look like, and what do we need to have a list that's ready to contend for a premiership in the short to medium term. And there's probably two or three things that really came out of that were the areas that we needed to improve. I think we need another key defender that can lock down on the opposition's best forward. We need some real high-end talent through the midfield, runners and kickers, and a bit more speed as well. That was really important. And I suppose if this was 6 or 9 months ago, we were thinking, well, who is going to be our number one ruckman long term? We were really fortunate, and we're in a great position now that Rowan Marshall has performed like he did throughout the year, and we see him as being our ruckman here for a long time, which is great. But we also know that we can't leave ourselves exposed like we were this year in case Rowan did go down and hurt himself. We need to bring someone in to support him and ruck with him, and also give Rowan the opportunity to go and play forward a bit as well, which he's a really accomplished forward. So, there was a really clear plan with the guys we brought in.
One here from Connor Newitt has asked, do you think you deserve a statue in front of Moorabbin after your performance this trade period?
No.
Short and sweet, okay. Don't know if he'd agree with you. John Moorhead's asked, what were the main reasons we became a destination club? And also congratulations on a great trade effort. It was a masterclass for other clubs to follow in the future.
So destination club, well, I don't know if we are a destination club. I'm not sure. That's a term that other people use, and they'll make that decision for us. But I suppose we've got a really clear picture and a really clear path that we're on here. And that messaging isn't we're going to win the premiership next year. Maybe we'll be trying, but I don't think we will. But who knows? But there's a clear path to success here. And a really clear vision of what we need our playing list to look like, the attributes, the positions and the character of people that we want to have in the footy club. The facility and the move to Moorabbin being in the heart of St Kilda territory is a really positive thing for our footy club. Some of the people that are now in the club in general, and also the footy department, Lethlean, Roughhead, Slater, Ratton, Lade, those sort of people, they're really important to selling a vision of what St Kilda is going to be. And I think we've taken some steps this year. We've got a lot of work to go, but we're starting to get the right people in, and there's a bit of positive momentum here.
Connor Bryan's asked if you entertained the idea of Josh Jenkins at any stage.
We talked about him throughout the year, because he's been a good player for Adelaide for 3 or 4 years, and if good players become available, and clearly we'd had been left a bit exposed at times if a Josh Bruce got hurt or a Rowan Marshall got hurt. We're sort of down on tools. We have Max King there who's only a boy and didn't play much during the year. So we talked about it, yeah.
And Benjamin Jennison here has asked, how important is Gubby Allen?
He's been terrific, Gubby. He's been very supportive. He's challenged myself and the others in our list management group about not just sort of playing around the edges, but really showing some real intent and being proactive in this period. So he's been a fantastic resource for us. He's very helpful. He's very entertaining at times, Gub. I think he's quite enjoyed sort of sitting back and watching me get stressed over the last few weeks. But no, he's a good man. We're lucky to have him.
There's one here that touched on something that's going to become more and more a part of trade period moving forward in the draft. What about next generation academy recruits on the horizon? E.g. Biggie, who's an NGA product for St Kilda. That's from Chris Henderson.
Yeah, so Biggie is he's finished his season at Dandenong. He's done some testing at the Vic State Combine, so we'll keep tracking his progress and speak to him a bit over the coming weeks in the lead up to the draft. So yeah, look, he's certainly one in consideration for this year.
Someone's asked, how many spots left on our list at the moment?
So we've got still a little bit of work to do with our list. We've got a few guys that are still uncontracted. We anticipate we'll have probably 3 picks in the draft.
Stuart Smith said, great to see the trades we got. Looking forward to 2020, but how does Brown fit in? So Nathan Brown.
Yeah, so Brownie's one of those guys that are out of contract. He's a sensational fella, Brownie, and been a really good footballer for this footy club. So we'll keep talking to him over the next couple of weeks, and ideally Brownie's here next year.
Yep. One here that would probably be on a lot of St Kilda fans' minds. Stuart Harsley's asked, can you talk through letting Josh Bruce go?
Yeah, very reluctantly let Josh Bruce go. So we wanted to make it really clear that this was not a scenario where we had encouraged Josh to speak to other clubs. That was certainly not the situation here. Josh had approached us a few weeks ago at the end of the season and said that he felt as though he might need a bit of a fresh start and a different environment. He was under contract, so the onus wasn't on us to help him with that proactively. And it was a really difficult decision for us because players of Josh's calibre, contested marking forwards who can kick goals, and he competes really hard on a Saturday, Josh, and he's popular with our members and supporters. So it was a difficult decision to consider letting him go, and it was pretty reluctant. But at the end of the day, like, Josh was really steadfast that he wanted to go to the Western Bulldogs, and for me, that's okay. If you're that clear that you think you need a fresh start, you don't want to be here, and you're not part of the clear path that we think we're on, then it's probably best for everyone that we part company.
Just one more from me, Gags, before we let you go. We spoke briefly off air, just on the sort of trade period glow. When you manage to acquire some good talent, there's a bit of an afterglow and maybe a bit of a honeymoon period, but the real work sort of begins now. We're coming into pre-season. There's still a lot of work left to be done.
Well, the work starts now. All we've done is the small part of the club that I can help and have an influence in is try to bring some good players in the positions that I think we need. So we've managed to do that, but to be honest, we won't know if that's been a success until we start playing next year and in 2021 and in 2022, when we think our list will mature to a point that we're a serious contender. So time will tell. Like, we can all pat ourselves on the back now, but who knows? We'll wait and see.
Well, Gags, congratulations on a very busy and successful trade period. One more before we wrap up. There's no better time to sign up as a Saints member. So call through to the club, 1300 467 246, to secure your membership for 2020 today. Thanks again, Gags.
Pleasure. Thanks, Mick.
Thanks.